What's up, guys? We are back for another NECA review, taking a look at the second figure in the Godzilla King of the Monsters line. We're taking a look at Mothra, and as of this review, I still have not seen this movie. Again, it's not for a lack of interest, it's for a lack of time. But I definitely want to take a look at it, and I'm very interested to take a look at this figure because I'm really curious if this means we're going to get a classic Mothra down the road. I've wanted something from NECA that's not Godzilla for quite a while, and I'm glad they were finally able to do something about it. So we've got her here in the Ultimate style packaging, so we've got a shot of her, just some artwork on the front with the King of the Monsters logo. You have got a bit of a write-up as well as some dimensions on the sides, and then the back of the package has cross-sell with the other figures as well as a product shot for the figure. But of course, being an Ultimate style package, you can pop it open. We've got another product shot on the inner flap, and then you've got the figure there in the window with some collector-friendly packaging. So let's do it. Let's pull her out and take a look. All right, and here she is out of the package, and this is kind of a weird review to film because there is sort of a lot going on with this figure, but sort of not, just because of what it is. So you've got a bug, and it sits on a stand, and it has a base, but there is a lot of plastic, and there's sort of not a lot of plastic. So you've got a really, really small core of the figure here, the body, the arms, the legs, and then you've got these absolutely massive wings that are basically a foot from end to end, and there is a little bit of articulation, kind of what you would expect, really. Not a knock on the figure by any means. I don't know what NECA could really cram into this figure without making it a over-jointed mess. So you've got these wings that can hinge up and down, and they do stay up pretty well. I'm kind of concerned that they're going to fall over with time. And then you've got these inner underwings, whatever you want to call them, and they can flap as well. You've got legs that can swivel on the backside, and you've got arms that can swivel on the front. And there are these smaller arms in the middle. They don't do anything. They are just attached to the figure. They don't move it by any means. And that's really it. You can swivel it at the base if you so choose, but that's not really a point of articulation. She moves about as well as you can expect for something like this. She really is mostly wings, and then you've got those swiveling legs down there. Now, the meat of the figure is in the looks, really. She does move around, and she moves around well enough, but I'd say for the most part, you're probably going to have her like this. You're going to have her with her wings outstretched, and I figure we'll get in close on the body, and then we'll talk about the wings and the rest, just so you're not looking at a wide shot of basically nothing, because it'll be hard to see her from really far away, because the figure is quite small. The actual core of the figure, I mean, is really no more than like 2 inches. So you've got a lot of detail crammed in here. It's just really small. There's a lot of sculpt on there, a lot of paint, a lot of wash, a lot of weathering, and then you've got those kind of bright blue eyes that pop out there. You know, she very much looks like a more modern interpretation of Mothra. Again, I've not seen the movie still, but I know what she looks like. I would love for NECA to be able to get the rights to do the classic Mothra look. I think they would absolutely knock it out of the park. But this is still a weird and fun and kind of goofy figure. It's an odd thing to have because it does some things, but it really doesn't do a great deal. She just sort of looks kind of creepy. And I do like that because this is kind of a creepy design, an almost too realistic design. But I do like what NECA did here. I like those crossed inner arms, inner legs down there, and just the spindly nature and the kind of really, really small nature of the body compared to the wings is brought through really well with the sculpt here. The wings, though, are, of course, the biggest aspect of the figure, and you've got basically 2 massive wings with 2 smaller wings that kind of supplement them. And these are translucent, so the big orange sections, if you shine light through them, they will shine through to the other side. So there is, you know, some kind of playability there if you want to light them up somehow and make her shine. But there is a lot of paint on these wings, and of course they are all textured as well. So they have kind of like a feathered texture almost. Of course, you know, they're not feathers, but you get what I mean. And then you've got a very almost a monarch butterfly kind of look. Of course, it's Mothra, but you get the drift there. A lot of paint, a lot of great detail in them. They're just the same on both sides. So, you know, the same kind of design, same kind of detail. They're just kind of huge, and it's really hard to describe how big these are until you really get them in front of you. I knew what I was getting into when I got this figure, but once you get them out of the package, it's crazy how much larger her wings are than the entirety of her body. I mean, that's exactly what bugs like this are, but it's really crazy to have this kind of figure in hand, and NECA did a great job with these wings. I'm really happy with them. The paint on them is pretty top-notch, and I love the translucent aspect. Now, the rest of the package, I suppose, could be considered an accessory, but I'm not really sure that that's the best way to describe it, because unless you're hanging Mothra from the ceiling, she can't stand on her own, so she has to be supported by this stand. And what you do is you just clip her into this opening right here, and her kind of midsection just sits in there, and then she just sort of is supported by that. And then it has supports for the wings as well, so they don't droop over time, which I think is great forethought on NECA's part. And then you've got this long, clear rod that leads down into this base here, which is pretty sweet. Again, you know, having not seen the movie, I don't really know what we're dealing with here. Some sort of like reactor is what it looks like in an egg sac or cocoon or something. But there is a lot of detail in this. So you've got kind of like the superstructure down here at the bottom, and then there's a hole in the middle for the stand. But then you've got this very nicely sculpted metallic pearlescent kind of egg sac down here, or cocoon, that she clearly is popping out of. And I think this is a really nice detail. You know, I guess they didn't have to include it. It could have just been a basic stand, but this really kind of sells the whole package. Now, there was shown at one point kind of a larva stage that I think was just sort of a diorama piece used for their demos. I was really hoping that was coming with this, but clearly not, though I do like the end result of the figure coupled with this pretty cool base. And for sake of comparison, here is Mothra next to Godzilla, so you can see that with the stand that she stands taller than him in every aspect, but you can see that just she is incredibly tiny by comparison here in terms of what her actual body is. And then you've got basically the entire length of Godzilla is just as big as this wingspan. So they definitely do go together, and they scale pretty decently, but of course it still looks like you've got just an incredibly tiny figure, especially if she's on her own. So overall, this is a pretty fun toy. I don't really have a great deal to say about this one. It's a bug, and I think NECA did a pretty good job of translating it into toy form. It doesn't have a great deal of articulation, but it does have a lot of sculpt and paint loaded into that tiny frame, as well as those massive wings, and it comes with a pretty cool base. And I'm a big Godzilla fan, and I'm hoping that this leads to more classic kaiju that aren't Godzilla down the road. So if anything, this could be a great jumping off point. So that's going to do it for this look at the NECA Toys Godzilla King of the Monsters Mothra figure. Let me know what you guys think. Feel free to like, comment, subscribe, and share, and until next time.